got my hat, my boots, and my guitar.
Coming up on today's Wild West, she's a trick rider, a cattle rancher, and an award-winning singer-songwriter. You'll meet the amazing Kristyn Harris. Plus,
they were telling us there was no hope for you.
The courageous former rodeo star who turns broken scrap into living art. They make cowboy hats for John Wayne and today's Western stars. We'll take you to Hollywood's hat maker, Baron Hats. Western creativity in the spotlight on today's Wild West.
The Wild West. It's still out there. And we'll show you how to find it. This is today's Wild West.
She's a trick rider, a cattle rancher, and an award-winning singer-songwriter.
I know you're busy making waves, making schedules, catching planes, but you've always got to have a place to land.
Raised in a family with no connection to riding, ranching, or music.
I don't know where that came from. My parents don't know where I came from.
But Kristyn Harris is living her dream. Traveling the country and performing the same style of music she grew up listening to.
I got my hands on a Gene Autry VHS.
No chance of falling romance. A man's best friend is his heart.
While watching the singing cowboy movies of Gene Autry and Roy Rogers.
Oh, give me land, lots of land under starry skies above.
Movies made long before she was even born.
I watched them over and over.
She likes to live by the code of the cowboy.
While the other kids were listening to Britney Spears, Kristyn, whose family lived on 20 acres outside Dallas, was begging her parents for a horse, learning to play guitar.
I got my first horse at 11. Got my first guitar at 14. And that's also when I adopted the Wild Mustang, my second horse.
And she devoted herself to her twin passions, horses and music.
Of course, most of it really came from just hands-on experience. The horse is the best teacher, in my opinion. And so with guitar, I was totally illiterate when it came to music. But I worked up enough songs and had taught myself to yodel that I got talked into doing an open mic.
Her repertoire was obscure tunes from Roy and Gene movies.
I went and did this open mic, and another girl heard me yodel there and said, "You need to go down to Fort Worth."
Fort Worth is home to the Cowtown Opry.
It was a group of amateurs led by professionals because it was open to anyone joining, but it was a great opportunity to get some stage experience because I had total stage fright.
That's what cowgirl friends are for.
That's where Kristyn met Devin Dawson.
She inspired me on guitar big time.
Never got the limo or the diamonds, but I got my hat, my boots, and my guitar.
And was introduced to Western swing music.
A lot of people call it jazz style guitar, so it's more complex and really a lot of fun.
The Cowtown Opry led to the Western Music Association's annual convention.
I got seen by some people that would hire me for something, and gradually I just started doing it professionally.
Along the way, she was learning all about horses, lessons that were sometimes painful.
We didn't know anything. My parents aren't horse people. We bought him. He bucked me off the first 3 times I got on him, and I learned to ride.
As she got better,
It was like, I have to do that.
the former high school gymnast took up trick riding.
Performed at a couple rodeos and some Wild West shows and things.
Everything is better with some cows around.
Music remained her main focus,
And once again, I don't know where this came from.
but she did find time for another passion, cattle ranching.
May you always have cows around.
I always had the dream to have my own herd of beef cattle.
Some rancher fans who became good friends offered to run her cows on their ranch in Idaho.
Managed to play enough gigs, saved up enough money to buy my first 5 head of Black Angus.
And today, she's the proud owner of 20 cow-calf pair.
Yeah, and it's a dream come true. I get to have cattle and be a rancher and have horses and train horses, and then have all that fodder for writing songs and sing about those things, and then get to travel around and do that for a living. I'm blessed.
And so are the fans who love her music.
I just had so many people go out of their way to help me and encourage me and make all this possible for me when they didn't have to.
Fans that become like family.
That's just the kind of people that I get to meet and be around, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
May you always have cows around.
Up next, the courageous cowboy who turned scrap metal into fine art.
I came hardwired to be a cowboy, so growing up on a ranch was a nice fit.
A beautiful sculpture of a horse, perfectly proportioned, created from nothing but scrap metal. Sculptor Matt Clark took a look at the same discarded metal and saw potential, and with his talent, skill, and hard work, gave that material new purpose, meaning, and new life as a valuable work of fine art.
The legs in that rebar came from a demolished bridge up at
It is the story of his own life.
So I love to pull that which has been deemed of no value. That's kind of a symbol of what happened to me, but then create a whole different entity out of it. You always put a smile on a spider or you are not selling it.
Clark was a 17-year-old high school rodeo star whose life forever changed.
I was thinking I was going to be world's champion cowboy someday. And
He crawled under his pickup truck, and the truck rolled.
yeah, my arms didn't work at first after the injury.
Not at all, right?
Not at all. I could do that right there.
And doctors were anything but encouraging.
Our recommendation going forward, and we're unanimous, that you should check into a rest home and you'll probably live 3 years. So that was 45 years and 7 months ago.
That's exactly what happened to his young roommates in his hospital spinal ward.
I was lost. I didn't know what to do, but I started paying attention to what not to do.
Matt refused to take the pain medication his roommates became addicted to.
All my roommates died within 3 years. They became addicted to drugs and committed suicide. And then once they're shaped, I'll start a twisting process to twist it all up so it resembles like a grapevine. We got a little bundle of grapes here.
And the wisdom of a Zen master, whose wife was Matt's nurse, was a huge influence.
So we had good talks, and I remember this so vividly. It was a Sunday evening. She came in and started the therapy session. I still could not get up out of bed. And she goes, you know, I told my husband all about you and what your dreams were in life and what you were doing. And here's the message from the Zen master. In spite of what's happened to you and what you've been told, if you will learn how to become your own best friend and listen and follow the voice of your heart, you will do things that amaze many people.
Matt took the advice, and the prophecy came true.
The Zen master was saying, you have a voice and it's yours. It's no one else's. And if you can learn to dial into it, it'll be a guidance in your life.
And his parents, who lived 300 miles away from his hospital, were the rock that saw Matt through his darkest days.
They were there continually, and they adopted the attitude, we're going to try whatever we can. Because I talked to them later, they go, the amount of suffering you were going through, we couldn't stand. We couldn't spiritually stand it. And their protocol and agenda, they were telling us, there was no hope for you. You probably won't even live through rehab. So they created a support system. It was powerful, and they had battles with the doctors. That's called Sunstone Totem.
And the Clarks ignored the doctors.
2.5 months in ICU, 6 months on the spinal ward. I could barely sit up. I could barely push a chair with pegs that stuck out on it. When it was time to leave the hospital, and they asked me, what are your expectations? I said, well, we're going to go home and set up our own therapy on the porch. I want to learn how to drive a pickup. I want to go to college. I said, I'm going to do everything I can to build a life where I can be independent which the doctor got angry at me and said, none of that's going to happen. It's our consensus here.
But it did happen. Matt went home and worked out day after day to rebuild his strength and started welding again, a skill he'd learned in high school. And 3 years after leaving the hospital, instead of dying, Matt was living on his own, driving his own pickup and doing freelance welding jobs.
And this is old trampoline frames that I'm going to build horses out of. Anybody that works with metal is always going to have a pile of scrap. So those are horses in process. And that was the name. That's just scrap. That's just junk to throw away. Well, one day I was bored, and this is a transition. I'm looking at the pile of scrap, and I shifted. I didn't see junk and scrap. I saw shape. I saw some cool shapes. I pulled them out. I didn't reshape them. I welded a little dinosaur. I still have it in my studio. Weeks later, when my mother came by, she goes, where'd that come from? Scrap that I welded up. She goes, no, that's not scrap. That's art. And you're good at it. Why don't you do more? So that's kind of the, you know, when your mother lies to you, you're good at something just to encourage you. That was kind of the start to this art career.
A hobby for 10 years, Matt left his admin job at the local college in 1997 to do art full time.
I quit the cushy, full benefit job to go on the roller coaster ride of being a professional artist. I don't regret it.
Growing up on a ranch, Matt's work is both Western and very eclectic, a reflection of the deep interest in philosophy he's pursued since his accident.
So that's why my art, there's always the broken, discarded piece. It's the same kind of path and journey. These pieces were once excelling at what they were created to do and then deemed by the expert of no more value and thrown away. So people say, you're a recycling artist. I go, no, I'm not a recycling artist. I'm a spiritual artist. How about that?
And even though horses are a painful reminder of the life he once lived,
I have such a connection to them from my cowboy life.
they're also a favorite subject.
It's a double-edged sword because it's extremely painful to be in that game, to create what used to be my best friends. But they're a great feeling of accomplishment when I feel like I hit the essence of that horse and it can take on its own spirit. So I don't avoid that experience, I just integrate it into me. Both the pain and the joy. They're a yin and the yang. I have chronic pain in my back and hips.
And navigating the pain he lives with every day.
I've never overcome anything. It's a daily navigating that darkness. Sometimes it's hourly, sometimes it's by the minute.
His creations are the product of what Matt calls his process.
Even if I'm super sick, I will at least get up and get in my studio and do something, and it's a conscious shift into creativity. That's what I mean when I say that's my antidote to the darkness. And if people didn't buy my work, I would still create if I want to stay here. Back here is my farm kid gate. Every component in that gate is a memory of growing up on the farm and ranch back here. He's going, where's the food?
Matt's get-her-done ranch kid upbringing has played an important role in his incredible story.
Waiting for somebody to show up to help you, they might not ever show up. So, yeah, I was raised kind of that. And maybe that was an asset to get through the initial stages of my spinal cord injury.
I started creating a line of cactuses, the lizards, some owls.
Today at his Utah home and studio, with wife Adele and son Logan, who's also an artist, Matt continues creating and has no plans to ever stop.
After I broke my back, second time these vertebrae all broke and collapsed. And the most kind, well-meaning people that I've known for decades told me, man, you've done your game. You've done this for 40 years. This is a good time to retire, you know, like hint, hint, you can't come back from that. Well, that just motivated me more because they don't understand that my process, my creative process, the one that I have built myself and build a world here to support that process is so powerful to me. If I can't go do process, I need to leave this realm. It's my antidote to my darkness.
Still to come, the best Indian artists of North America. But up next, the guy who makes the cowboy hats for your favorite Western. John Wayne, Diane Keaton, Slash, Beyonce, Bob Dylan. All have one thing in common. They've all worn hats custom made by Baron Hats in downtown Los Angeles, Hollywood's hat maker for generations, whose old handwritten customer book includes names like Frank Sinatra, Jimmy Stewart, the cast of Bonanza, and many, many more.
And there's John.
What size the hat did he wear?
7 3/8.
And the story of this legendary company continues to this very day.
We did the fitting at Paramount, yeah.
Variety reported how the costumer for 2023's Oppenheimer movie searched the world for just the right fedora for its Oscar-winning star Cillian Murphy and found it at Baron Hats, whose owner, Mark Mejia, delivered it to the set.
We did. Christopher Nolan was there, and I was there, and Cillian Murphy was there, and we knocked it out of the park, I think.
All in a day's work for Mark.
This is a braiding machine. We're making braid for different types of caps. It's going to go in the front of the trim. It's going to go in the front of the cap.
Who often makes personal visits to fit and deliver hats to movie studios, sets, and even the personal homes of the biggest names in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I don't get starstruck, necessarily. This is just a perfect fit for me. I've been blessed with that, being able around these, being at their house, actually at their home, So it's pretty unique, in some of the places that I've been.
Founder Eddie Barron used to personally deliver hats to John Wayne.
And he would go to his house and actually do a fitting there. And that was some of the stories that he told me when he made hats for John Wayne.
A native of Colombia, Eddie got his start at Western costume in Los Angeles before founding Baron Hats in Burbank in the 1960s.
Eddie Barron worked on hundreds and hundreds of commercials and motion pictures and television. The Rifleman, he did a lot of work on lots of Westerns well before my time, and that was one of his specialties, was Western hats. It's shaping and forming and creating a size and a shape.
Mark apprenticed with Eddie in the early 90s.
Very nice guy, great sense of humor, but he really was from the old school, put it that way. And he taught me what he was taught by an old German hat maker, and that's some of my skill set is what I carried over even today.
Mark bought the business when Eddie retired and later relocated to downtown Los Angeles.
This is the beginning of a cowboy hat.
Where there was much more room for the company's vintage equipment that allows Baron Hats to create virtually any hat imaginable.
This particular hat was one by Johnny Depp in Public Enemies.
A hat woven right in Mark's shop.
So you're creating the actual hat body?
From the braid, yes. But we sew it around and around and around, and we make a hat body from the straw and then we stiffen it, and then we shape it and block it accordingly, whatever we're trying to build.
A character's hat can be as memorable as the actor wearing it, like Russell Crowe's unique outlaw hat in 310 to Yuma, made with a very rare piece of ribbon.
Where did you find that?
I talked to the costumer from 310 to Yuma, because I made the hats for them. This was made sometime in the 1930s. There's only about 15 yards of it, and that's all there will be. There's no more. Maybe going to do a limited edition, one last push for 310 to Yuma, and recreate the hat band with the original ribbon.
And if the material a costumer wants doesn't exist, Baron can make it, like the braiding a movie costumer wanted for the brim of a brakeman's hat that Mark braided with one of his vintage machines.
This is a grosgrain machine. We're making grosgrain here.
And you make this because you can't find it anywhere.
Not the quality that we want and always the color that we need or the width that we need. So we can do multicolored.
Hat bands, costumes, whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
Baron even makes hats for cartoon characters.
So I built 3 of them, and we made the hat for Jessie in Toy Story, and then they digitized it.
A top secret project.
When you go to Mattel, your cell phone gets in a basket, you get it on the way out. It's very, very, very high security.
Rock stars are just as particular, like Slash and his trademark top hat.
It's a pleasure to work with. He's patient and he's, also demanding. He wants what he wants, and I try to make sure I get what he wants the best I can to provide something that's comfortable on stage and the right style and the right leather and that sort of thing.
Bob Dylan's been a customer for years, and Barron is the official hat maker for the new Bob Dylan Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Along with her work for the movies, Barron Hats is open to the public as well. So if you'd like a hat like the one Bob Dylan wore, or Woody, Oppenheimer, or any hat for that matter, they'll be happy to make you one.
Here's some custom embroidery we're doing on the crown of a hat. We're doing this chain stitch.
Mark and his crew can recreate virtually any hat you can imagine.
I could do it.
The lobby of Barron Hats is like a museum, and his website is full of ideas.
A big portion of what we do is commercials, motion picture, and television and things, but we certainly are open to the public. We have a little showroom. You can come in and look. You could come up with an idea or ask me to see if I could help create something, and bam, make something special for you.
Still to come, the best of American Indian art at one big show.
This represents the sun, and these are the sun rays in all four directions. And it's also
the bolo ties, jewelry, sculpture, and the many other fascinating works displayed at the American Indian Arts Marketplace
hand beaded into the board.
A lot of these things that we make have meanings behind them.
Are much more than just fine works of art.
It's to carry on a religion and culture. So we value things that are brought from the Mother Earth and made by Mother Earth. A lot of people aren't just out there to make money.
And the turquoise dot on the top of the head, it represents wisdom.
They are a celebration of the many aspects of Native American culture.
The majority of my work has to do with the Navajo mythology stories, the universe, and the Mother Earth connection right in the middle. And then we have the giver of life.
All the artists are wonderful. Jimmy does a beautiful job. I mean, I love the inlay work that he does with his pieces and the explanation and the story behind each piece.
And here at the Autry Museum of the American West in Los Angeles, there are fascinating stories behind every piece.
So here's Mother Earth right here. This gravitation is vegetation, and this is the horizon, and these are clouds, and these are sun rays. And the sun rays are feathers and made into a Yebiche mask.
And then this, the famous Platoon 382, all Navajo, that developed the code. And took
the artists all have a story themselves.
This is me right here, and this is my grandpa here.
Like Latham Nez.
He would wake up in the morning going, ka-chua, ka-chua, shooting into the air. And I asked him, after the book came out, I said, Grandpa, what were the nightmares about? And he said that he would wake up to seeing the Japanese enemy sitting at the end of his bed.
Along with displaying his jewelry, the artist is celebrating his heroic late grandfather, Chester Nez, one of the original code talkers of World War II, and the only one to share his amazing experiences in a book.
They put us in these boarding schools to strip us of what our heritage and our language, just to come to find out that they needed that to win the war.
Chester was also an artist who loved to watch Looney Tune cartoons with Latham when he was a boy.
He was always drawing. He loved cartoons. He loved art, and he was the best, most humble person I've ever known.
Latham says the Navajo, who call themselves Dene, learned to work silver long ago from the Spanish conquistadors.
And we would trade them for their silver dollars.
The molten silver was poured into a mold made of volcanic tufa stone.
And I put the two halves together, and I leave a sprue for me to pour in my molten metal. And then I break the mold apart, and then I'm left with this in the middle here, a perfect replica of my design that I carved in.
I'm setting stones.
Those ancient roots have given birth to some very successful modern careers.
My next international trip is Italy. I love traveling.
Tanya June Raphael was 8 when she began making jewelry with her grandparents.
This is a big ring. The big rings are in. I was raised by my grandparents, and this is what their legacy is. I'm carrying on what they taught me.
And today the Navajo sells her work all over the world.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah, you can try it on. There's a mirror.
I'm like terrified.
And I love meeting people, and of course, just making the piece, like this piece I made. This is a pendant, and it goes on with one of these.
Some 200 artists representing some 40 Indian tribes are here at the show, selling and demonstrating their work.
You're welcome. I enjoyed just being in my own space, my own time, unplugging from everything, and just being in the experience of weaving, being in your thoughts about the materials, the nature, your ancestors, all that stuff, everything that the basketry, where it came from.
There are Navajo rugs, Kachina dolls, and makers of fine bows and arrows.
Amazing.
Plus, some modern arts, like photography.
I'm really not making any political statements, but just kind of using photography to represent a positive aspect of life and the beauty of our land and people. I teach at Northern Arizona University. I'm a professor of photography there.
And works that blend the past and the present, like mythological animal form.
The bear, the spider, the deer, all these animals played an important role. And so this is a homage, morphing of all those different animal forms into one piece. And it's all hand-painted.
A Pueblo Navajo artist born in New Mexico and raised in Los Angeles.
And it's entitled Shiprock Legacy.
Rowan is also a painter.
Shiprock being on the Navajo Indian Reservation, there was a great deal of uranium mines that were built up there. It's a narrative on that particular issue, that social issue that has been plaguing Southwest indigenous people for many, many years.
But I love it. It's acrylic paint with a clear coat on it. And then the beads.
But the American Indian Arts Marketplace,
They make me smile. So I like doing it. And the gourds talk to you. They kind of tell you what they want to be.
is just a fun day.
I made the dream catchers onto the gourd, cut the circles, the half circles, and then built the dream catchers onto the gourd.
It's a fun day.
And I would burn all my designs on.
Because you meet great people and you get to walk and just enjoy the fresh air. And
Thank you.
it's a fun place to be.
But you've always got to have a place to land.
That's it for now. We're back next time with more cool stuff from today's Wild West. I'm Mark Bedore. We'll see you down the trail. For more information on the people and places featured in today's Wild West, or to order show DVDs and books, visit todayswildwest.com. Funding for Today's Wild West provided by the Leggett Foundation, the Atherton Foundation, and the Chuck Wagon Trail Riders Foundation.